Hi, I'm Charles with Handicap. Previously, Bai was accepted as a disciple to become an immortal. In the immortal realm, Bai would discover that his chosen walk is able to double the power of anything he puts in it. However, he loses some lifespan when he does. Later, Bai returns from a mission to be touted as a hero, and is given a divine shield and sword. His new status would quickly get to his head, but Bai would eventually be humbled by a man named Tian Yu, and Bai vows to get his revenge. The story continues as a group of men discuss how the major cultivation clans are all on the move. The men are then ordered by the elder of their clan to dispatch as many men as they can to find Bai, and striking first will give him the upper hand. Mei is there as well and expresses her displeasure to hear what her family is planning to do to Bai. Back at the sector, Bai is still upset about being embarrassed by Tian Yu and vows to beat him to Foundation establishment. He is even willing to spend his entire fortune to do so, and goes to a shop to buy the ingredients for making a Foundation establishment pill. The ingredients aren't cheap since the pill is a 3rd grade elixir, but Bai reveals that he is prepared to sell all his belongings. However, Bai is extremely disappointed when the shopkeeper only gives him one ingredient, and tells Bai that his stuff isn't worth much. He is told though that an auction is being held very soon, and there's a chance he could become rich overnight if he auctions off something valuable. Bai points out that he can only refine 2nd grade low quality items for now, but he is told that a low quality item has just sold for over 500 spirit stones at the last auction. Bai is remotivated and goes to refine a 2nd grade pill. He pours spiritual energy into the spiritual fire and pays close attention to the characteristics of all the herbs. Bai is confident that he has performed every step perfectly, but finds that all he is able to make are completely useless pills. Bai fails another attempt, and when he goes outside, he finds an ingredient box just sitting there. He attempts to see if it belongs to anyone, but no one responds. However, we see that a couple people hide, waiting for Bai to take the box, as they explain that he won't be able to escape their clutches once he takes it. Sometime later, we see that everyone is excited about the auction. Bai arrives and thinks to himself that he better keep a low profile since his high status might cause a commotion. He notices that everyone there is from the wealthy clans and predicts that the 3 elixirs he brought will earn him a fortune. Huyan is there to participate in the auction, and Mei is there as well, but she hides from Bai. The auctioneer prepares to begin the auction as she explains that this year's auction is more special since the spirit sector's war between the northern and southern banks is approaching. There will be a large number of treasures and their scope and quality are unprecedented. The first item is a young green dragon horn, which doesn't look very special to Bai, but the bidding starts at 700 spirit stones. Bai is then shocked to see that the item sells for 1000 stones and raises his hopes for his elixirs. Just then, he sees that Zhou was the person that won the item and yells to her, but we see that this only alerts the men that are looking for him. Several items would go on to sell for over 1000 stones, and Bai is amazed to see how frantic everything is. Some time passes and the auctioneer explains that the last 3 items are from the same person. Bai realizes these are his, and his first item is shown. It is a purple key spirit ascension pill, a 2nd grade low quality item with a 60% impurity level. Bai is upset to hear that the starting bid is only 100 stones, since the cost of making the pill was 60. The crowd can't believe that someone would auction off such a low quality item at this year's auction, when there were so many other valuable treasures. Bai tells everyone to bid and wonders why his low quality item doesn't sell like the one he heard about earlier. He takes things into his own hands by reminding the people of his status, and explains that he had spent 3 months making the pill. Bai gives an emphatic speech that states the pill will help anyone make the breakthrough in their cultivation, and the people begin to bid over 5,000 stones. Bai is then woken up from his dream and is told that the auctioneer had to move on to the next item since no one bid for the last one. Bai's second item is only a tiny bit better than his first, and the bid once again starts at 100 stones. Bai is determined to sell this one even if he has to bid on it himself, and bids 101 stones. The crowd wonders why Marshal Bai would be bidding on it, and determine that the pill might have some secret unique quality. Bai gets caught up in a bidding war with the crowd and manages to get the bid up to 205 stones. However, Bai is stunned when he wins and upset that he actually bought back his own elixir at a higher price. He composes himself though, as he doesn't want anyone to know that those are his items. The auctioneer then announces that the final item is the same type of pill as the last 2, and the crowd becomes more upset than ever. However, the auctioneer reveals that this pill has the extremely rare quality of having been spirit refined 3 times, making it a superior quality item. Huyan explains that the chances of spirit refining something 3 times is extremely low, and that even a grandmaster rarely has that kind of luck. Bai grows confident once again, but the crowd reveals that they are upset that someone wasted the luck of spirit refining something 3 times on such a low grade item. The auctioneer explains that the pill actually has another hidden surprise though, and reveals the symbol of the little turtle. The crowd recognizes it immediately. Zoe is still upset about how the little turtle beat her, but acknowledges his talent and Mei demonstrates just how much of a fan she is of him. Bai shows that he knew all along, and the crowd realize that all 3 pills must have been the little turtle's offer of enlightenment to them. Bai explains how it's a rare valuable and the auction of this divine work starts at 1,000 spirit stones. The bids quickly come in and reach 5,000, but Mei refuses to let anyone else have her idol's collectible. She bids 6,000, but her bid is instantly beat by Zoe. They go back and forth, but Mei has had enough and bids 100,000 stones. Her brother tries to calm her down, but she reminds everyone that her family owns the auction. Bai is then shocked as the bidding comes to an end and he realizes he just made a fortune. Bai is amazed to see how much of a fan Mei is of the little turtle, and she reveals that she wanted to win the pill for Bai. He can't believe how thoughtful she is towards him, and Bai decides it's finally time to reveal his immense secret. He stands before everyone and announces that he is the illustrious little turtle. The crowd thinks he is only joking though, since the little turtle doesn't seek fame or fortune, and everyone knows that Bai loves those things. Mei is the only one that believes him, but when he goes to chase her, he runs into 2 women. They want to discuss the details of their marriage, and reveal that the ingredient box he took earlier was actually a betrothal gift. Bai would rather just return it to them, but they refuse to let him go. Several other women from noble families would like to marry Bai, but he explains that he is only still a child. Mei can't believe these people are acting this way, and Bai is offered a vast fortune from one of the fathers asking that Bai marry his daughter. Bai is still hesitant though, so they begin to offer rare ingredients for refining elixirs. Bai begins to consider this and states that he needs time to decide, but Mei arrives to stop everyone. She explains that ever since she heard that her family wanted to offer marriage to Bai, she has tried to avoid him, and explains that no girl is deserving of Bai. She leaves just as law enforcement arrives to announce that Bai is still young and has to prioritize his cultivation, so he will not be able to choose a partner for 100 years. Bai is heartbroken as this deprives him from having offspring, but what's worse is he won't be able to accept the bribe. Some time passes and people gossip about how Bai has locked himself in the Elixir Pavilion since the incident. Inside, Bai realizes that the glory means nothing to him now, and determines that cultivating immortality is the only path for him. However, another failed refinement damages the pavilion, and the elder bans him from it forever. Elsewhere, Yuan plays Go with Lee and explains how Bai damaged the pavilion. Lee isn't too concerned and explains that great things come from small things, and the path to an apothecary master is not different. Later, we see that Bai has mischievously taken his pill refining to his home. He manages to create a pill, but it looks strange, and he wonders if it's an impurity issue. Bai drops the pill though and is horrified to find that the precious pill, meant to help him reach the Foundation establishment level, has been eaten by a rabbit. The rabbit dies though, and Bai wonders if the pill he worked so hard to make is actually poisonous. He decides to test it on another animal and tells a nearby monkey that it will make him immortal. The monkey doesn't fall for it though and just begins to imitate Bai. The monkey laughs at Bai, but he uses the opportunity to throw the pill into its mouth, only to find that it yields the same result. Bai attempts to improve the pill he has created, but only ends up having to make several graves for his test subjects. Bai determines that he shouldn't keep testing on the innocent animals just as a bird with familiar eyes arrives. Bai is shocked to see that it is a spirit-tailed chicken that once ate his immortality pill. Even more surprising is that it isn't afraid of dying as it eats Bai's new pill and flies off. Afterwards, Bai determines that it must be an impurity issue, but laments how there are no methods for removing impurities written in the records. Just then, the pill is struck by lightning and he is amazed to see that it helped the impurity issue. Lightning strikes seem to be the answer, so he lets the pill be struck several more times. The weather phenomenon is a huge disturbance, and Bai states that he can't let anyone find out that it is being caused by his elixir refining. However, he hears that someone is mimicking those words back to him, and is shocked to find that it's the rabbit from earlier. Bai tells the rabbit to be careful with what it says, but it escapes. Bai realizes that it's only a matter of time before news gets out, and decides he might as well go all out with the refining. Elsewhere, a group of men discuss how unbearable the weather has gotten since it rains day and night. One man even complains of how a phoenix chicken has been eliminating all his other chickens, and they notice it fly nearby. We then see that the rabbit has a big mouth as it informs everyone in the sector that Bai is causing the weather phenomenon. One night, it even causes acid rain to fall and causes Zoe to hate Bai even more. Days later, a large group gathers and are told that Bai has used his status as honored disciple to get away with causing them harm. They all decide to rally for justice but end up getting covered in acid rain. At Bai's house, he is delighted to see that the cleansing method he created all on his own works extremely well, but outside men have gathered to confront Bai. The elder arrives to explain that he has tolerated Bai for long enough and destroys his home. Bai pretends to be innocent, but everyone knows what he has done and call for Bai to be kicked out of the sector. The elder then shows the phoenix bird that has kept him company for the past 2 years and explains that Bai has brought harm to it. This, along with everything else, proves to be too much for everyone to bear, so the elder prepares to take Bai's life. However, Lee arrives to stop him and explains that the medicinal path can be very tricky. Countless failures are to be expected, but if Bai can make a breakthrough in the medicinal path, then it will greatly benefit the sector. Tensions begin to rise, but the undead rabbit returns to mimic embarrassing words said by the elder. Bai still can't catch it, and it goes on to mimic things Lee said about promising to get married once he finishes cultivating. The rabbit refuses to cooperate with Bai, and Lee gets extremely upset. Elsewhere, a man named Hong Zong is startled when he hears his master's voice since he passed away a long time ago. His master is uncertain about how he was brought back as well, and wonders if it had something to do with the pill he consumed. We then see that Bai is being punished by Lee. Bai blames the rabbit for everything, and explains that Lee has a good reputation, so no one will believe the words of a crazy talking rabbit. Bai states that he was just trying to refine a foundation establishment pill as soon as possible, but Lee points out how foolish that is since Bai is only at the 7th level of ki condensation. Bai promises not to cause any more trouble and begs that Lee give him a method for raising his cultivation level. Lee storms off but leaves Bai with an inner sector method. Bai studies it later to find that it is the Dragon Elephant Sea Transformation scripture, and there are 3 levels to it. It reads that with a body as powerful as an elephant and a spirit as powerful as a dragon, once the sea transforms, the potential for success is infinite. Nearby, Lee acknowledges how smart Bai is but fears he might get too clever and end up hurting himself. Su reminds him that in 1 year, the 3 great Foundation Establishment Sacred Lands will open, and that might be a chance for Bai to achieve an earthly vein foundation establishment. However, Lee explains that even if Bai is successful with this new method, the earthly vein is brutal and peculiar. Lee fears that when the time comes, Bai might die in vain. The reward given to the Chosen One at the war between the North and South might help Bai, but Lee explains that Bai isn't competent enough for the war yet. Weeks pass and Mei is worried since Bai hasn't left the room where he cultivates. He has managed to achieve level 8 ki condensation, but the qualifiers for entering the Northern and Southern War are very soon, and Mei hopes that Lee arrives quickly to get Bai. Inside, Bai explains that he can now sense all living creatures around him, and has an indescribable power that is becoming more distinct in his body. Bai then finds himself in the realm of the first level of the method, and earns a body as powerful as an elephant. Just then, he is restricted by chains, and Bai remembers how the Guardian once told him that he will be able to touch the shackles of life, but won't be able to break them. Bai realizes that this method has allowed him to touch the shackles much earlier, and is determined to at least try and break them. He is surprised to see that the chains have disappeared, and he now stands in the sea transformation portion of the method. Bai wonders if he has failed since it looks much different than what was written, but Lee is there and is amazed to see that Bai has created such an unusual dragon elephant sea transformation. Lee stops his training and drops him off at a dangerous place without any explanation. Bai attempts to escape but is unable to fly and must be saved by Hu Yun. A while later, it is explained that there are only 21 people left in the Southern Bank's qualifying battle. Hu Yun is surprised to hear that Bai knows nothing about it even though he is participating, but giant swords falling from the sky ends their conversation. The chiefs watch nearby as Lee explains that the Northern Bank is extremely powerful, so all the traps for the Southern Bank's qualifiers are much more difficult this year. The elder points out that only the top 10 individuals will participate in the battle, and they are all excited to see who can break free and distinguish themselves. Bai continues to run from swords but is surprised to see that the trap has lightning as well. Hu Yun points out that it isn't part of the trap though, and that the lightning is coming from a guy named Lee. Lee is insulted to see someone weak like Bai competing against him, but Bai takes exception to the comment. Bai doesn't think running while emitting lightning is impressive at all, and tells the guy he calls Greenhead to watch where he is going. Lee hates being called that and chases Bai off a cliff. Bai would then later wake up to find that he has once again fallen in a snake pit. Elsewhere, the talking monkey investigates a nearby array just as he notices Bai running from snakes. Bai uses the pill to scare the snakes as he explains that it has taken the lives of many animals. It works for a moment, but the pill disappears from his hand. The monkey has taken it, and he states that Bai is extraordinarily gifted in the medicinal path. Bai, however, is once again in trouble with the snakes. It is then announced that only 11 people remain, and we see that some of the final participants race to the end. The chiefs are amazed at how strong the final participants are, but can't find Bai anywhere. We then see that Bai breaks some of his pills onto the snakes, but finds that they all make different animal noises now. The other participants frankly rush to the exit, and we see that Bai is more proud of his genius than ever, as he explains that even the Snake King let itself be his mount. The snake makes horse noises as Bai begins to lose control, and we see that Tian Yu is up ahead. He is certain that nothing will stop him from being first, but Bai is launched far ahead of everyone by his horse snake. Thanks for watching part 7, 4,000 likes and I'll know you want a part 8. Also, all of the parts are in the link comment below.